to the suspension controversy in the off-season. Jordan Rapana not getting to use his All-Stars game as part of his suspension. Apparently he went to the NRL and he didn't get exemption. Is that right?
Well, the story I got told from the Raiders was that Ricky Stewart sat down with Jordan prior to the All-Stars match and said, mate, if you could use this as your suspension for his drink driving charge, would you be prepared? And he said, well, of course I want to play in the All-Stars. He said, but I also want to win a competition. And if it means I can play in round one, for sure, that's what I'll do. And so anyway, they went to the integrity unit and they were told that it was clearly stipulated in the rules that a rep match could be used for an on-field discretion, like it was with Latrell. However, it couldn't be used for an off-field indiscretion, which was the case with Jordan. And it was actually written into his suspension, you will serve this in round one. So anyway, the Raiders walk away, fair enough, rules are rules. And then after the All-Stars is when South have applied for Latrell's ban that was Jeff Bellew from the judiciary overturned it, which is, you know, it's been used in the past. Teams have used it in the past for rep games. But then Andrew Abdo's come in over the top and used his discretionary powers to take a match off Reece Walsh and Brandon Smith, which allows Brandon to play in the opening round of the season.
Who are both on drugs suspension.
Yeah. Well,
which is off-field, the same as Rapana.
So the Raiders understandably look back and say, well, where's the consistency? Why are we changing the rules?
And then Rapana gets suspended in the game too.
And then he gets a 2-week suspension and brings COVID back and gives it to about 4 or 5 of his teammates. How lucky are the Raiders?
Yeah, how do they get that wrong? Like, why is it so inconsistent and...
I think it's inexperience by management. You know, one of the criticisms I've had about management for some time, there's no corporate history in the game. So a lot of the stuff that's coming to them, it's coming to them the first time. And years ago, the NRL went through and they didn't trust anybody from the David Gallop administration, so they got rid of them all. So anybody that was been around, other than Graham Annesley who came back, but anyone who's been around they can say, well, mate, has this happened in the past and how do we handle it? There's no one there. So they make up these things. So how Andrew Abdo thought it was okay to use his discretionary powers to allow Brandon Smith drugs charge, Reece Walsh drugs charge, to both use that game as their suspension, but not Jordan Rapana on a DUI charge.
But see, in fairness to Andrew Abdo, the decision on Rapana was not made by Abdo, it was made by the integrity unit, who were just reading from the rules at that stage.
But the integrity unit would have made the same decision on Walsh and Smith, and Abdo then went over the top of them.
Yes, but that had happened after the Latrell thing. In fairness, where I've got the problem...
So this office doesn't know what that office is doing.
Rules on the run is what I've got the problem with.
Well, we're arguing about the same thing. We're agreeing with each other.
Well, I can't believe we're allowing players to come back to use games for such serious charges.
For off-field incidents.
100%.
Ridiculous.
Why? You're right.
If it's
What message does that send to the game?
We're going to discipline you, but actually, this game that... And to be fair, I know they're all passionate about the game, but it's not worth 2 points. And to Rapana's point, when it came to one or the other, he chose to miss the All-Star game rather than the club game. So that's where players see it, OK? It's ridiculous. And it should be... The NRL should come out and make a clear statement, a clear line. It is no longer going to happen.
How do you define if any of these players in the future are even going to get selected for the All-Stars?
Well, that's the other thing. How do you use it?
How was he a certainty?
He's never played it before. That's the thing. You can't be... How do you use a game as a suspension when you're not eligible to be picked for the game?
No idea. No idea. They've got to change it. Crawls, I know this is a bit of a beef of the week for us. What's your beef of the week?
Well, my beef of the week goes along the same lines. It's talking about you're never ever going to get consistency when it comes to on-field incidents either. But during the trials, we saw so many players sin bin for the most minor high-contact offences. And then in that the James Tarmo shot on Sam Walker, where he just went absolutely 100 miles an hour at his legs.
That's the worst incident of the trials.
It's so bad, and I'm not saying that Tarmo set out to intentionally hurt the kid.
No.
But it was reckless. And he didn't even get 10 minutes in the sin bin for that.
Unbelievable.
And then afterwards, copped a 1-week suspension. It's just not good enough. And then in the same game, you had Lindsay Collins who took out Jackson Hastings with
yeah.
one of those cannonball
Here it is,
tackles. Here it is now. Goes in the back. Again, we've saw really minor incidents for the last 2 weeks in the trials. Absolutely, you know, they get sin binned here, there and everywhere. At one stage, they were even marching him back. Put on report, not sin binned, pays a fine. Gets
trial.
out of it with a fine.
In a trial. Well, but you can see the reaction of the Tigers players here. They know straight away what sort of tackle it is.
Yeah. That ends a season.
Yep.
You can't be doing that. You got to be punished for that. You really do. And whenever you see
Don't worry about a
this,
season, Crawls. That could end a career.
Yeah.
It really, like,
And
depending
again-
on the player of their contract situation,
You're
etc.
not saying it's intentional, but it's careless and it's bordering on reckless in my books. And I just don't know how there's going to be a blow up from fans, even though we sat here last year and all season we supported the NRL over their high shot crackdown. And a lot of people are upset with it. You know, a lot of the former footballers and fans out there were upset, but we made a stand here that we supported it because you want to see the game cleaned up. Well, that's not cleaning up
how do
the
they
game.
fix it?
Well, at the moment, as I understand it, the NRL are doing a complete overhaul of the judiciary and the match review process, and to the point where I'm told there's a chance that they might make changes before the start of the season, which gives us tomorrow.
Crawls the start on
burning the
Thursday.
can.
It gives us tomorrow. I rang a club this afternoon. I said, "Do you know anything about these changes? Maybe that match review and the judiciary they're going to change?" And they said, "Haven't heard a thing."
They're burning the candle right now, the NRL, to get it all in place by Thursday night's game because they don't want to wait to round 3 to announce
You
changes.
wouldn't want to give it a dry run, would you?
Oh, look. Well, what have they been doing all summer? What have they been doing all summer? Like, honestly, we're on a Tuesday, first game's Thursday, and they're trying to get
I
it
can't
out.
wait for next week.